Welcome to the CEO Launch Podcast.
We are a dynamic mother-daughter duo bringing you personality, insights, and practical advice from two different generations of entrepreneurship.
We aren't just mother and daughter. We are also best friends and business partners.
I've watched my mom help thousands of entrepreneurs start the businesses of their dreams, including me. And now it's your turn.
Hey, welcome back, CEO Launch family, to episode number 38. So today we are talking about what's important in your business. Now, if you missed us last week, we talked about it's not personal, it's business. So go back and check out that episode. There was some pretty good nuggets there. But again, today we're talking about some of the things that we should be prioritizing in our business. So to open us up, Kenya has a story.
So y'all, I'm gonna have to tell a little dramatic story. So a couple months ago, I had gotten really sick. I think in a season opener, I explained that I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. So probably in the fall of 2021, I got really sick and I just was essentially bedridden. I couldn't really do a lot of stuff. And because of that, all I could do was get on social media, which was terrible for my mental health. It was just, I was sitting in bed and watching everybody do everything that I couldn't do. And it was just oh my God, I have to get off of here. So I made the decision to do a social media cleanse for about 3 months or so. So I started in September and I said I was going to cap it in December and kind of see how I felt about it. And so I did my social media cleanse and I started taking care of myself and I started feeling better. And when I came back in December, it was oh wow, I forgot how addictive social media was. I'm on it, I'm posting. People miss me and I'm hey y'all, let me tell you what's been going on and what we have going and all this other stuff. And between December and January, I found myself back into this time suck of social media. So it was just I was spending so much time posting different things that it was okay, wait girl, when you wasn't on social media, I had read 3 books in a week and done all of this stuff, even being sick, had done a lot of stuff for the business, really thought through different processes and things like that. Now, I'm relatively feeling better. I'm on social media and half of my time is me on Twitter or Instagram. So I was something got to give because we can't go back to this, especially because I was starting school soon. So I made the decision that I had to divest from social media once again. But instead of doing a full-time break, I needed to do something a little bit differently, which was changing where my social media was. So rather than having it right on my phone, right at my fingertips, I deleted all of my apps except for LinkedIn because LinkedIn is boring enough that I will not be addicted to it. But I deleted all of the apps on my phone and I only had social media app form on my iPad, and then I could get on my computer if I needed to do anything like schedule posts and things like that. And I got my time back. I started reading more again. I started getting a lot of stuff done in work, and it made me realize that I had to prioritize, even though it was this huge dopamine feeling experience of getting likes and having people comment and all of those things. I wasn't doing anything that was profitable or really even productive. There's a level of being productive on social media as a business owner, but I wasn't doing the things that I knew could very directly make me money. So it was a very eye-opening experience. And, thankfully I kind of got my time management back together and really just got my time back. That was something that was super important. So now I'm reading again. I just finished a book yesterday, I think, and I'm starting a new book now, and just going back into things where I can enjoy my leisure as well as have time to do things, very thoughtful things in my business.
I think there was some overlap in the time that you and I took a social media break. I think I took my social media break. It was shortly after my birthday, I think. In fact,
you took yours after me because I'm a trendsetter.
Oh my gosh, the trendsetter. She said drama, y'all. So listen. So I tend to, by the end of the year, I tend to get to the point where I need a break from social media. And last year was a whoa year. So I did the same thing. In fact, I've gradually come back to social media. I do have the Instagram app on my phone, but Instagram is not my favorite platform. So it's okay for me to have
Yeah.
that one. Now, yeah.
Facebook is her
Yeah,
addictive
Facebook
site.
app is not back on my phone at the time of this recording. Maybe the time that you're listening to it, it might be back on there. But I just haven't done that because it's a time suck for me. And I realized that it was kind of changing and shifting my energy. So in this episode, we wanted to kind of talk about, so a lot of people have asked, like, even my coach, she's like, you really need to do an episode about time management. This is a kind of a time management episode, but it's also an episode where we're kind of talking about prioritizing things, making sure that we keep the main thing, right? And the things that are important are the things that are in the forefront. And so in that vein, we figured let's start with social media, because I think when it comes to time management or prioritizing the things that are important, social media is probably one of the biggest time sucks out there. What do you think? Besides TV?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think especially when you first start out, like everybody is like, oh, you have to get your name out there. You got to be on social media. You have to be posting it every day, all the time. Post. Which in my opinion is just propaganda from the social media app creators that you have to do all of this posting because everybody's trying to beat the algorithm and blah, 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 blah. But in reality, sometimes increasing your visibility isn't always going to increase your profitability. People on Instagram or even LinkedIn are not necessarily going to be the people that are going to spend money with you. For some people, it might be a little bit different, but I know especially for service providers, a lot of times what I've found is having actual relationships with people, which we talked about. I can't remember the episode, but we do talk about genuine relationships. But having genuine relationships with people is what works towards that profitability, as well as you actually putting in the work to do whatever service that you provide to kind of get that done. And so this is kind of, I'll say for me, you could tell me if you agree, but this is kind of the antithesis of a lot of what people say about what you need to do with branding when it comes to social media. I think that you can strategically do it, and one helpful thing might be scheduling your posts out versus you actively being on the platform all the time, or hiring someone to do your posts so you don't necessarily have to spend that time doing whatever it is that you're doing. But that prioritization piece that we spoke about is what's important. I think that is the first key to even being able to manage your time, understanding what's important to begin with. Is this making me money? Am I converting on social media? What is my aim when I'm on social media? Maybe you're not worried about profitability. Maybe you do want to increase your visibility more. Maybe that's something that's more important to you right now. Post away. But if you are thinking more about how do I get this profit, then you might scale back on social media. Maybe that's 10% of your marketing plan. And now you're doing other things to kind of get that out.
Yeah. And I think that, I know for us, social media is not a huge, it's relationships for us. Social media is just kind of something that we just do just to let people know that we're there. But as far as conversion, I mean, we stopped posting on social media and had our best year in 2021. So there's not a direct correlation between us and posting and profitability. The other piece of it that I wanted to talk about, and this is kind of my jam, this is the part where I really feel like I excel when it comes to time management, is that I do something that I call chunking. And so for me, what chunking is, and this is how I get so much done, is I do like things together. So it's kind of like, let's just take it. You guys know I'm a foodie. I like food. So I'll use a food example. So let's say, for instance, if you were cooking, if you're cooking and you are going to meal prep, and it's Sunday and you're meal prepping. On Sunday, you may chop up all your vegetables, or you may wash and season all of your meats and put them in bags and all of this stuff. Just different little things to make it easier. So when you come home from work or when you stop working and you go downstairs to cook, everything is already kind of prepped and it's there. So that's kind of like how I do with my scheduling. I chunk. So I have a time period when at this time I am doing client appointments. And I have these particular times when we talked about last week about creating rules and being consistent. This is something that I do very, very consistently. There are certain times of the week that I see clients, and those are the only times that I see clients. There are very few things that where I will make an exception. And I say few, like it's usually got to be like a real big money case or something that's got like, a sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. And urgency means dollars, right? Because if you got to get it done fast, you're going to pay extra, whatever. So for me, I do a lot of things like that. So I have certain days. And I'll share my schedule. So Monday is my getting stuff done day. So I don't schedule meetings on Mondays. Mondays is a day that I do client work. It's a day that I deliver. Tuesdays mornings are client meetings. So I do coaching calls on Tuesday mornings with my coaching clients, and I do consultations. I may even do a few discovery calls, and I have a set period of time that I do those calls. Then on Wednesday, that's my get stuff done day. I say something else, but this podcast is clean.
I'm not clean.
And so that's Wednesday. Again, I don't have anything scheduled on Wednesday. When I was an adjunct, I used to teach on Wednesdays, which was kind of threw my schedule off a bit. But Wednesday is a get stuff done day for me. And then Thursday, again, I do client appointments on Thursday afternoons. And then Friday is my wellness day. And so a Friday means no client work. My office is closed. I meet with my therapist or my coach or my chiropractor or somebody on my wellness team just to make sure that I'm managing that stress. And so for me, being able to do things like that, it helps me to prioritize. And when we go back to the title of this episode, when we talk about what's important, when I'm asked to do something, if I say yes, I know what day I can do it and at what time, because I have certain times of the day that I do certain things.
Yeah. Now, if you're like me, that was a lot. So for me, I have noticed with my own work style that me and routines are not besties. I can have somewhat of a flow, like a weekly flow. Like I usually take off either Wednesday or Thursday or both, because I like having a break in the middle of the week to kind of just like reset and think about what I want to do or what I want to work on. Because a good portion of the stuff that I do is creative, even though I do like career stuff. It's a lot of creative thinking about new ways to train and teach and things like that. And something that I found really important is, again, if you're like me and you're not the best at routines, getting into a CEO mindset requires you to do a lot of different types of tasks. Something that I have found helpful is people, like finding people that can assist me in doing maybe even micro tasks and kind of having many departments within my business and guiding them and directing them on what needs to get done, but making it so that I'm not so all over the place when I need to get stuff done. So it's just like, okay, if I want to focus on developing a workbook or developing a curriculum, I can be in that headspace because I know somebody's going to be doing the social media or somebody's going to be doing the client success stuff, things like that, because it just kind of clicks for me better to be in that, like, I'm focused, I'm in the zone, I'll do it. Because I'm the type of person, if I'm doing something, I will literally tune into that thing for a couple days, probably like 20 hours straight, just working on this thing until I finish. Then I'm done and I never look at it again. And, I give it to whoever needs to do whatever, edit it, to distribute it. But that's how my work style works. So definitely when we talk about prioritizing what's important and having time management, it's about understanding what your work style is
and what's going to work best for you.
Doing the things that work for you.
Even when I share like all of the stuff that I'm doing, I'm not telling you to do it like I do it. I'm just sharing with you. This is what I do. This is how I get stuff done. And if some of it resonates with you, adopt it. And if it doesn't, toss it in the trash, right? And so it's really about figuring out what's the things that's going to make you more productive. It's funny that you said that you don't like routines. I honestly don't like routines. And so even though I have that structure, I don't feel like it's a routine because I don't do the same thing every day. Even on the days,
over and over.
Even on the days that I'm coaching, I'm not coaching the same people every week. I'm not doing the same things. And so there is some variation in what I do every day. It's just more structured, probably more structured than you would want to be. But I'm definitely not a routine person. I think I might be even more amazing if I did catch on the routines, but I just...
Not even more amazing. Somebody come get her.
I'm pretty awesome right now, so...
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so getting into our takeaways, I think the most important thing for you to kind of do and start thinking about as an entrepreneur is determining what are the activities that make you the most money. And that kind of goes into like talking about understanding, like having historical data, being able to track your time and the different things that your time and your profitability, really. And so once you kind of determine the activities that make you the most money, that helps with you being able to prioritize what needs to come first. Because if you're spending 10 hours on a social media post to get 10 likes and no conversions, when you could be spending 10 hours on a training or a book or, something that will actually bring in some money, we got to rethink some things, making sure that we're doing the things that's important. And then also the second takeaway is just spending time on the things that build your business. There are some things, I believe, we're kind of entering this stage where it's probably more entrepreneurs now than it may have ever been. Entrepreneurship is super accessible at this moment. And so everybody's giving everybody advice about how and when they should build their businesses. And a lot of those strategies are not 100% going to work for you because these people are not in your business. So you have to spend time on things that are actually going to build and grow your business to the place that you want to get to. So looking back at your mission statement, looking back at your vision statement, what are your objectives for this year? What's your strategic plan? And figuring out how you can do certain activities to get you to the goals that you had set for yourself in your business.
And the last takeaway is kind of on the lines of what I was talking about is really create a schedule that works for you. Do what works for you. I'm not telling you, Bernadette doesn't take calls on Wednesdays, so I'm not going to take calls on Wednesdays. I'm not telling you to do that. You got to do what works for you. I don't take unscheduled calls because the work that I do requires deep thought and I can't have lots of interruptions. And so if a person is not on my calendar and they call the office, they could leave a message or they could schedule an appointment. But I can't take unscheduled calls. But if your business is one where maybe you can take unscheduled calls, girl, take them calls then, so you got to do what works for you. We're just kind of sharing some best practices and things that have worked for us and clients that we work with. So thanks again for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you as always. And you know the drill. If you haven't already followed us on social media, we are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter at The CEO Launch. And if you are on Facebook, join our Facebook community, The Efficient CEO Movement, where we will continue the conversation. Until next time, we will see you next week.
And don't forget to take off.
This is a Clearwood production.